was a very odd hut for our music there. I apologize for that, but welcome to the Big Dudes in the Trenches podcast, everybody. I am Ben. I am Bug. Joined, of course, by
Hey,
Doug. And yeah, Doug is still on vacation, still enjoying Mexico. Having another beer down there in Mexico. Caught a bunch of fish the other day. That was pretty awesome.
dude,
Looks like he's having a great time.
yeah, he's having a fantastic time. I know he's eager to get back at the same time. But at this, honestly, dude, just enjoy your time down there. Don't worry about anything else. We got it from here.
Yeah, and he even gave us some players to watch from college, gave us his game to watch, and made picks for all the games that we picked as well. So we're off to a pretty good start as far as that goes. With that being said, though, we got some business to take care of. Let's get straight on into it, starting off with the NFL.
Yeah, let's do it. I know usually we start off with the world's worst news, and unfortunately, I think I have to jump into that right here. Um, Guys, it's not Tua. It's not the fact that Skyler's a third string rookie starting this week. Miami has lost the last two games, according to Mike McDaniel, because of a ping pong table that the team captains have now voted to remove. Most notably, Tyreek Hill. At least that was the story yesterday. And then Tyreek talks to the media today, and that man is a character. And he says that's not why we removed it. We removed it because it's bent. We're actually ordering a custom designed one.
That is actually just fantastic news. If I'm being honest here, I
I,
love that a little piece of happiness is getting to stay in the locker room, and I really hope they keep it. And it is a distraction for when they play the Bears here in a couple weeks.
I mean, I don't know how. I think you need a little more distraction than just a ping pong table, but we can save the trash talk for that week when it's coming up. Um, no, in other fantastic news, shocking news, Brian Robinson has been named the starter and did start the game tonight against the Washington Commanders. Now, this is
For
the
the Washington Commanders against the Bears.
yeah. Um, this is mind blowing news considering he was shot, 7 weeks ago in the leg, and the man is a starting NFL running back as of tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, last week he didn't look so hot. Obviously, had a limited role, but this week, I mean, game just started. We'll see how it goes for him. You never know.
Absolutely, man. We'll keep with the theme here. We're going to go with stick with the Washington Commanders. They are shopping cornerback William Jackson III, basically at his request as he's hoping for a fresh start. No leads on where he's going, no leads on if anybody's biting, just that the Commanders have been in talks. So they are actively shopping him.
You know, if they've lost so much confidence in Antonio Gibson, maybe they shouldn't have been as public about it. But I would have thought that maybe he'd have been the guy they'd be shopping as well. I mean, we saw how electric he was in this offense last year. I guess we'll see. There's a lot of stuff going on with the Commanders. I said it on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel earlier tonight. You know, hats off to Carson Wentz for actually playing with an injury for once in his career. I don't know
Right.
how
He
that's
did it
going to
last
affect the
year.
Commanders.
He played on 2 sprained ankles last year.
He's always playing on sprained ankles. It's almost his normal life at this point. I'm not going to count that. But hats off to him, and we'll see. You know, I think that plays in the Bears' favor, as I said on the show on the carousel earlier. But my counterpart, the Commanders fan I was speaking with, said, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on around the Commanders right now, and a lot of that's centered around Dan Snyder. Now, I've seen this. Bleacher Report came out with this and cited their sources. I don't remember exactly who they were there, so that's my bad on this. But from Bleacher Report, Dan Snyder hired a PI and allegedly has dirt on all NFL owners and Goodell that could, quote, fuck the league. So we'll see how that happens. That is an unbelievable big man pick for the Washington Commanders. Ball tipped at the line, and you know how it goes from there. Justin Fields with an INT. That's just unfortunate. And so, you know, Dan Snyder is also allegedly quoted as saying the owners all hate each other. And then one owner allegedly responded saying that's not true. We all hate Dan Snyder. That was from Barstool. So take
I
that for
love
what it's
that.
worth.
I love that.
Take that for what it's worth. It was from their football guys there. So maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Definitely doesn't surprise me that they would report that piece of the story there. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see, and This drama and this saga with Washington football team Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins, formerly known as the football team. It doesn't matter. It just seems to never end, and eventually maybe they'll just get to play football and not have to worry about this. I don't know if that happens with Dan Snyder as the owner, though.
Man, I know you'd already reported on it, but I'm a little upset that the Bears had that turnover in the red zone. I was starting to think we might actually see a touchdown on Thursday Night Football, but not yet. It still has not happened in the past couple weeks. Uh, Moving on down, we'll get into this game later. That being said, Jason Peters has his revenge game in Philadelphia this weekend on Sunday Night Football. He's excited for it. He's ready for it. We'll see if the rest of the Cowboys are, and if Cooper Rush can go 6-0 on the season, on his career, 5-0 on the season. I know I'm alone right now, but Ben, if you're with me, I need you to pull up the slides for me so I can start getting into the previews. All right, and there we are. All right, Thursday Night Football's going on. You have the Bears versus the Commanders. Honestly, we're not picking this game. If I were, I am picking the Bears in this game. I think the Bears do pull this one out. Ben, you have my faith in you. I've actually got them against the spread in this game.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned, maybe somebody will score a touchdown in this one. No touchdown scored was actually the pick, the largest bet going for this. Normally, it's who's going to score the first touchdown, and that was not the case. No touchdown scored was actually the biggest bet going into this one.
That's amazing.
God, I hope that doesn't happen 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, I mean, it's going to go down as an INT, but that's not even Fields throwing the coverage. That's a defensive lineman just making an amazing play. Never mind. He threw it off of somebody's head. That's why it bounced up. I think I'm back to putting this one a little more on Justin Fields.
Oh no!
All right, that's why you want big quarterbacks back there, right?
Let's get into the Sunday night game. We got the juggernauts of the NFC here. The top two teams in the NFC. The top two teams in the NFC East. Who thought we'd be saying that at this point in the season? At least all three of those things. Cowboys are traveling to Philadelphia, take on the Eagles. Man, I'm with the Eagles on this. Until somebody slows down that defense and slows down Jalen Hurts, I have to continue picking the Eagles. I don't see how the Cowboys can do it. I know the method for them to do that, and that's get Micah Parsons in Jalen Hurts' face all day. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that. What are you thinking?
The bigger question is who is going to be playing quarterback for the Cowboys.
Dak was only limited today. It was his first official participation back in practice. I don't think he's playing this weekend. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater played today, and he's not playing this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, here's the issue, right? Cooper Rush is a great game manager. I think the Cowboys are just going to need more than that to beat the Eagles. Plain and simple. There's no way around that. So, yeah, this is an interesting matchup. You can see I picked the Eagles to keep on rolling. Doug, the only one going with the Cowboys, which I think is a fair pick too.
Yep. This is not a blowout by any means.
Going back to the NFL carousel, I'm telling you guys, make sure to check it out. The Cowboys rep said, we have one good running back between Zeke and Pollard. And I don't think that's true. I think it's just the way that Pollard is being utilized. And yeah, I think Zeke being utilized that way as well. Neither one of them is really being allowed to play their full potential. Maybe Zeke is kind of getting up there. I know I say it half jokingly because I want to see Pollard having an extended role in that offense as the Memphis alum. But I think there's a lot to this team that just isn't reaching its full potential on the offensive side of the ball. And I think any Cowboys fan will agree with you. I don't think this is the week they're going to get it done, though, either against a very hot Philadelphia Eagles team.
No, I agree completely. I think this is going to be the Cowboys' second loss on the season, first loss since week one. I just don't see it happening. I do understand Doug's pick, and it's a totally valid pick.
Exactly.
Right, moving on to the Monday night matchup. Look, take everything we know about the NFL, and we can toss it out the window. However, I will say this. Russ's has an injury. Denver's looked like garbage all year. I don't trust him. I do trust, even if the Chargers have been underperforming, I trust the Chargers a little bit more right now. I'm going with Los Angeles on this one.
Yeah, I'm with the Chargers as well because what have the Broncos done to give me a reason to not go against them?
Lose in
Right? I mean,
overtime to the Colts. Oh, wait.
there's nothing good about Denver right now. This team very much looking for its identity, and they just straight up don't have it. So yeah, I think this is obvious. You got to go with the Chargers. Maybe we'll see this division get back on track here.
Yeah, we'll see. It's hard to get back on track against yourself, but it is what it is. All right, let's get on to our picks. Ben, what's your game of the week?
So my game of the week is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. And look, the Colts are somehow a 2-point favorite in this one, which I do not understand. The passing game is not there. Jonathan Taylor has not looked great at all. And I just the Jaguars are frankly the class of the division right now. And that's kind of crazy to say,
The Jaguars
but
that just lost to the Texans
I look,
brutally.
I've seen crazier stuff happen. The Lions beat the Packers regularly. All right. So yeah, I'm sticking with it. I've got the Jags winning this one.
Look, I get it. I'm with the Colts on this one, and I'm with the Colts because this is in Indy. In Indy, we already had one matchup this year with Colts at Jags. I rode with the Jags on that one because it was in Jacksonville. This one is at home. Indy plays better at home. Indy can actually succeed against Jacksonville at home. I'm taking Indy to go on a 2-game win streak here after winning on Thursday night in overtime.
Absolutely. And we're going, you can see here if you're watching with us that Doug is also taking the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to go down and call his game as well. He's got Cardinals at Seahawks. I'm excited to see this one. Geno Smith is playing like everybody wants Kyler Murray to play, and we definitely saw flashes of it with the Jets, which is a huge deal because, after all, it is the Jets that we saw flashes of greatness with. So the fact that he's playing this well with the Seahawks, and you could argue the Seahawks have more weapons, and I think he'd be right. The run game is definitely going to be hurt, losing Rashad Penny. But man, I think Geno might have finally found his stride and found a system where he can thrive and succeed. I'm going to ride with the Seahawks here, and the Cardinals, man, they got to start doing something.
If this game were next week, I'm taking the Cardinals. But this game's not next week. It's this weekend. I'm sorry. Without D-Hop, questions at running back. James Conner is still fighting an injury. There's just too much going against the Cardinals right now. I'm looking at the Seahawks as well. I know Doug's riding with the Cardinals, but I'm riding with the Seahawks. To me, it's just the safer pick. That's where I'm at on this one.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So again, we're at your pick now. Let's see. What game you got going.
I'm really confused how I'm on the Giants side.
Is that not who you took?
Nope. No,
Oh, yeah,
you
that's my
flipped me
fault.
and Doug. So Doug's
Yeah,
with the
Doug's
Giants.
taking the Giants.
I'm with the Ravens. Look, I'm looking at this game because this is the litmus test for the Giants, and everyone can say, "Oh, they did it against Green Bay in London." I don't care. I want to see how they handle Lamar Jackson, one of the teams that are considered the class of the AFC. I want to see if they can really hang with the Cowboys and the Eagles. I don't know that they're there yet. So I'm looking for them to go out in this game and have a big game. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is the Ravens game all day. It's on the road, so the chances of the Ravens blowing a big lead are a lot less for some reason. I don't know. I'm riding with the Ravens on this, despite what these slides might show you.
Yeah, my bad on that, man.
You're all
I
good. You're
was
all
going
good.
like a madman here. I was going cross-eyed here. Carson Wentz is sacked again. And yeah, I'm riding with the Ravens as well because they finally were able to do it and complete a game here. The Giants just aren't a good team. Saquon Barkley, there's been a lot riding on him, and eventually he's going to break down and fall apart. He can't be the only thing going for this team right now, and it's going to be to the Giants' detriment, and especially against this team out of Baltimore right now.
I mean, I'm with you with it being Baltimore's game, I just don't know if I would be selling Saquon that short right now. I know what your concerns are. We've seen the injury history. Uh,
And his
I
shoulder's messed up right now too. I mean, the Giants can come out and say it's not affecting him as much as they want. I don't believe it, man.
Hey, it's fair.
And Doug, despite what the slides say, is taking the New York Football Giants. So don't be discouraged here. Well, we've got it fixed. We've got an accurate record in our notes here. It was a
Facts.
mad dash to get these finished after work and getting the kids to sleep. So it's been fun. I'm glad to be
All,
doing this podcast though.
all good, man. All good. Hey, how about you lead us all? Oh, we do have alternate uniforms this weekend. I did not
We
know that.
have
The
we have
Dirty Birds are
one.
coming out.
Yeah, everybody's been asking for it. This was, I would say, probably third most requested thing to come back with the new rule being implemented, being able to have multiple helmets. First was the Patriots. Patriot Pat, I think, was number one on pretty much everybody's list. Depending on who you talk to, a second or third place one would be the Silver Domes for the Seattle Seahawks. And this was either second or third for everybody as well. The red helmets out of Atlanta. This is just an absolutely legendary helmet. You'll love to see it. I swear to God, if Khalil Herbert gets a touchdown this week, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. And it looks like he's about to. Nope, he makes it
Nope.
down fucking 7. Motherfucker. All right, so he's sitting on my. I put in Brian
I
Robinson
I was
for him.
biting my tongue on that because I saw the run.
Yeah, I don't understand how you're a little ahead of me on a stream, but it is what it is.
Hey,
I'm not gonna get upset. But yeah, Falcons helmet looks sick. Can't wait to see it. And
I'm
we'll
I'm
keep
just
we'll keep a
excited the
running
Dirty Birds
total
are
of
back.
yeah, we'll keep a running total of how these alternate uniforms go. I think they're 2-1 right now because the Giants won in their alties,
All right,
and
I'll up it.
they were 1-1 last week with the Patriots winning, and I can't remember who lost, but I know it was 1-1 last week, and I know the Giants won the week before with the first alternate uniform of the season. So Justin Fields running for his life. That's amazing. This is really just bad that I have such a big screen to watch this game on now. Moving on to our start and sit fantasy players. I got the wide receivers this week after Tug had them last week, and he will take the running backs. First, my sit, I'm going with Michael Pittman. And look, Jacksonville, as I already said, class of division. The Colts cannot pass as it is. It's a disaster on that offense right now. You have to sit Michael Pittman on this one. Next up, I got Gabriel Davis as my hot start. KC does not have the secondary to cover a full receiving core. Stephon Diggs is going to take way too much attention away from them. I expect him to have a big game this week against the Chiefs.
All right. I mean I like your picks here. I don't know if I'd be sitting Pittman, but I like the analysis on it. Uh all right, moving on to mine. I am sitting Cam Akers this week. I know Carolina seems like a favorable matchup, but that Rams offense is broken too. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to handle it. And honestly, Cam Akers isn't even the feature back right now. So that's another issue on top. Um, I know. I've had him for 2 years. It sucks. I'm still holding him on my dynasty league, but it's getting to be that time.
They don't even really have a feature back. They've gone to such a running back by committee
Yep.
out there. Like even Henderson is not a great start. And it doesn't help that they can't fucking pass to save their lives. So neither one of these guys, in my opinion, can be a decent starter for you at this point.
No, absolutely. Looking over though, I am 100% starting Dalvin Cook. Look, Miami. This hurts me because I love Miami. I love them to death. But our defense just has not been playing well this year. The running backs have been feasting on them. Miami cannot tackle when Dalvin Cook is really good at breaking tackles. Look, Dalvin Cook's going to eat this weekend. Skylar Thompson starting. They're going to be in a positive game script all game. Uh, yeah, this is a start Dalvin Cook kind of week.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't get hurt, absolutely start Dalvin Cook. It's starting to get to that point in the season where I kind of get worried about an injury, but I'm not going to sit
So
here and try and forecast an injury.
he's already had his injury. It was a dislocated shoulder. He's already back.
Well, I know
He didn't
that,
miss
but
any time with it.
still. And side note, as I was making these slides, I was looking for pictures of Dalvin Cook, and this one as well as another one, I had to do a double take. I thought I was looking at a Madden image, just the way these pictures, like
Yep.
it's absolutely insane to me, just where we're at as far as technology goes. So, yeah, Dalvin Cook, I love it. That's a good Good start. Let's move on to some college news, though.
All right.
And yeah, there's not.
Speaking of college, let's give some score updates here. Well, we got some live scores going on, so let's give updates on those. So we've got UCF leading the Temple Owls at halftime, 35-13, making quick work of the Owls. And then we've got the Baylor Bears leading West Virginia 24-17. If you're following us on Twitch, you should see these scores popping up as they come. Please continue. Man, follow us on Twitch. That's all I can say. Twitch.tv/Big Dudes in the Trenches.
There you go. There's the shameless plug for any of you that are audio listeners. Come on, give us a follow. Come join on the fun on Twitch. We do have a little bit of college news before we get into our picks here. And yeah, of course, we have the Uni Watch again. So don't worry, we will get to it. But our first story here, new betting favorite for the national championship. It's not Georgia. It's not Alabama. It's Ohio State. How did this happen?
Dude, Georgia's had a couple shaky games. Honestly, very, very shaky games. And Ohio State has not. And then Alabama's got big question marks, especially after that Bryce Young injury. Look, I know he's coming back this week. We'll get to more of that later in our previews. But no, I understand where this is coming from.
It is just, it's amazing to me. This is a team that they refuse to put at number one, even though they're moving around Georgia and Alabama, it seems willy-nilly, and making sure one of them's filling that number one spot. So the fact that I understand like betting odds are not placed by the AP, but it's insane to me that there's this much support between Ohio State and Doug. I'm sorry, but frankly, the way Ohio State played against Alabama in that national championship 2 years ago plays even more into this shock on my end, at least. Now, moving on to the next story, there's, quote, a lot of push for 12-team expanded playoffs in 2024, 2 years earlier than the deadline, according to the ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips. Obviously, he's wanting 2026 there with the 2 year earlier here.
That's not what he's wanting.
Hate.
That was, I was going to say, that's not what he's wanting.
Or
that's
what
they
voted as saying. Yeah.
Yeah, the deadline that they gave when they voted on doing it was 2026, which I think is when the TV deal is up. So that makes sense. These guys are talking about doing it before the new TV deal now, effectively.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. I'm not going to say like I'm scared because I'm scared of change, but this would be very, very shocking if it happened this much earlier. I'm a fan of it. I'm absolutely a fan of it, and I want to see what happens and how this all goes down. But the sooner we get to a 12-team playoff, in my opinion, the better. Next up, the Jackson City Council unanimously approved a new stadium for Jackson State University. So if you are a Jackson State Tigers fan, I believe they're the Tigers, check me on that, Tug, and you are down in Jackson or Mississippi, get ready for a new stadium. You got to think the popularity and notoriety of the team rising as much as it has with Deion Sanders being the coach there plays into this for sure. Man, there's been a lot of talk that Deion's going to be a top target for a Power 5 or Group of 5 FBS level coaching job, and it makes sense. He has come out and said he wants to bring HBCU football to the same level as the FBS. This is definitely a step in the right direction. I cannot see him leaving Jackson State. I love everything about this. It just seems like everything is going so well for Deion Sanders there.
So reading the article, that's actually what a lot of this is a way to entice Deion to stay. I didn't put in there that was for Deion, but that's really what a lot of it comes down to when you read through the article. The Jackson City Council knows what's going on. They know what the program needs. They see it, and they're trying to do it. There was a lot of things that were up for discussion there, like running water and stuff, and I don't think they came to any agreements except on one thing. And it's in true Southeastern United States fashion. Hey, boys, we need a new football field. This is the only thing they could agree on.
Sounds about right. But it's definitely huge news for Jackson State. And really, anytime an FCS school gets a new stadium, it's a big deal because, yeah, we're talking about a smaller stadium. That was weird. we're talking about a smaller stadium, but definitely these stadiums have a lot, especially the older ones, have a lot of history and meaning to
Yep.
them. Unfortunately, they just don't have it becomes more expensive to try and repair or upkeep
Yep.
those stadiums than it is to build a new one. So it's awesome. Maybe a little sad. I don't know a ton of history about the Jackson State University football stadium right now, but
And they are the
awesome.
Tigers. You did get that correct.
That's what I thought. But it's awesome that this is happening right now, and in no small part to Deion Sanders. Our next story here, the Big 12 is looking for a new TV deal. Apparently, initial talks with ESPN and Fox have been, quote, meaningful. Of course, the Big 12 has kind of had a deal with Fox with the Big Noon kickoff and Fox Big Noon or Big Saturday. That's been the Big 12, Big 10 kind of split there. Nothing huge for the Big 12 in that end. But they aren't free to negotiate with just anybody yet because they still have a few years left on their current deal, right? This is a solid push and maybe will improve their contract. I know the Longhorn Network has been very controversial for other members of the Big 12 up to this point. So the fact that they're getting rid of Texas and finally going to be able to do their own thing definitely means that these talks are going to be important going forward and help the whole conference and not just one school.
So absolutely, and I want to highlight that these are initial talks. These aren't even negotiations yet. These are just initial talks, feeling the water out, if you would, seeing if it's too hot, too cold. So the fact that they're meaningful, the idea is that these will lead to fruitful negotiations for both sides. But we are still in the very initial stages.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we got some interesting news going on here. This kind of sucks. Wisconsin offensive tackle Logan Brown has been dismissed from the team. All we know is that was an internal incident. Tweeted that he had entered the transfer portal, but that was apparently after he was dismissed from the team. So you got to wonder how his luck's going to be in the transfer portal because everybody's going to be calling up Wisconsin and saying, why are you getting rid of him? What did he do?
Absolutely. And one thing to note with this too is this is right after the change of coach. So you really don't know what happened. It was an internal incident. Jim Leonard is not saying anything additional beyond that, which honestly props to him. If it's internal, handle it internally. Sucks for Logan Brown. He was a highly touted prospect or recruit coming out of high school. I think he was the 17th ranked tackle in his class. Uh, this is a tough one. Tough loss for Wisconsin here, even if it was a necessary loss.
Well, and that's not the only guy entering the transfer portal. Houston has losing a wide receiver going to Oklahoma, so a future
Nope.
conference opponent.
So other way around, he transferred to Houston this year from Oklahoma, and he is now quote unquote no longer with the Cougars.
Wow, I can't read any of this at all.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
yeah, it is what it is. This is interesting. Houston was fighting for their season against Memphis last week and is the only team to come back from 19 points down in the fourth quarter in 122 tries.
You don't sound bitter at all.
So for this to come out right after that game or in the week preceding that game uh is interesting. You would think if they had lost this would have made sense, but I
So
don't
this
if
goes
we
a
don't have
little.
any other story going on here.
This goes on a little deeper than that because he has not played in 3 weeks. So the story just broke today, but he has not played in 3 weeks. So I don't know what's going on here. Like I said, I'm not even going to speculate. All we know and all anybody's reporting is that he is no longer with the team. He's not on their roster. He's not on their website. I haven't even seen that he has entered the transfer portal. It's just he's not with Houston anymore.
It's very, very interesting. Maybe something we'll keep an eye on. Maybe it's going to be something awful, and we'll just say, "Hey, remember that guy? Yeah, he's a shitbag." We don't
That's
know
probably
anything now, though.
correct.
So now
Oh,
we're gonna
it's fun time.
talk about some alternate uniforms, or at least the ones that we saw. Uh, but first, something even more exciting.
Do we have an alternate field?
We have an alternate field. This is FIU, the Panthers. They're having a Vice night. And, I should have looked to see if there were uniforms for this too.
I would be shocked if they don't. This is an absolutely gorgeous field. I don't know how I feel about the changing color on the sideline, but it works for what they're doing.
Well, this is something that I actually like. Some schools do this very well, and I absolutely love it. It's have the red zone a different color, and
Yep.
I don't know why this isn't a standard thing, but I love it every time that they do it. Let me see here. I mean
While you're while
this
you're
is just
looking up their
absolutely awesome.
uniforms, speaking of states and teams and things doing weird things with their fields out here in South Dakota, the goal line is a weird orange that is almost impossible to see when you're running, and it makes it a pain to be a ref as they're crossing the goal line.
See, we never did that, but we would definitely like schools would definitely have their school colors as the goal line. So like my school was orange and black. We had our goal line was orange. Some school one school we
But was it
played
a
was
see the thing is, was it a bright, freshly painted orange, or was it just like dulled over the season?
oh no, it was repainted every week.
That's the issue I'm running into is these goal lines are so dull that you can't actually see them.
That's unfortunate. But as you can see here, oh, wrong one. As you can see here, there is actually a different helmet for this week. I wasn't able to find any uniforms quickly, but this is man, this is a
I'm
fantastic helmet we got going on here.
I
There's got to be a different uniform going on as well, so definitely be on the lookout for this.
I hear me out here. I think they missed the mark. It's a fantastic helmet. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the best it could be.
I agree
Uh,
with you.
take the pink outline on the FIU, and then rather than leaving it black behind it, put the blue in there, and then that center stripe down the center of the helmet. I can see from this angle, it goes yellow, and then it's black, and then yellow. Again, that neon blue right in the center, or neon teal, whatever you want to call it, make it pop. That'd have been fantastic.
I completely agree. There's not enough neon blue in this for a
There's
Miami
none.
Vice theme.
Like, I don't see any.
I don't either, but this is also just one angle of the helmet. Maybe
Yep.
there is some that we're missing, and I got you got to imagine that there's a uniform with this as well. I just wasn't able to find it. Didn't even occur to me earlier. Moving on, we have BYU yet again. It seems like we had them on here last week for that game in Vegas against Notre Dame. Honestly, these helmets, I wish they would have had these last week. You got the Cougar, the mountains, the whole shebang here. This is a beautiful helmet.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is.
yeah, I mean, this is little helmet talk to start off our alternate uniforms.
There's yeah, I don't think there's any better. And then these uniforms are student designed for Oklahoma. I'm going to let you run with it, but that's one of the big things I want to add to this.
Yeah, they're calling this their Unity uniform, and you can see they've got Unity on the back. I did not see anything official whether it would be Unity across everybody's back or this was just for the photo op. I really love the gray. They've done the gray a couple of times, but never like this. Of course, you see the state of Oklahoma on the shoulder as well, and this deep dark red in the numbering and the lettering. It's just absolutely a gorgeous helmet as well. This is a great uniform for Oklahoma.
It is. Hopefully they can get back on track. They do have a tough draw this week, which is weird to say that Oklahoma has a tough draw against Kansas. But this is going to be a beautiful uniform to see out on the field.
First blue turf in a high school field. That is painful. I'm fine with like different colored turfs in college, but in high
I
school, Mike Tackett, man, that's tough.
Here's my thing. Was it well done? Did they do it right, or was it like a crappy blue and like cheap turf, or did they actually do what they should do? That's my question on that. Like if this is like blue like BYU turf, they probably get away with it.
Like BYU or like Boise.
Yeah, Boise. The other blue school in the mountains.
Moving on, we got North Texas again. Look, a nice blackout uniform. No complaints here.
I Again, I'm going to say the same thing I said for the Cardinals, though. Nice blackout uniform, yes, except for the fact that the pants are white. Guys, if you're going to commit to blackout, go full blackout.
I also can't tell you if Texada is going to be on the back of every uniform or if this is even the player's name. Not super familiar with the University of North Texas's roster here, but I like this. This is fine. And then once again, Troy coming in with a alternate helmet. This one's going to be a script Troy. Man, I was going through these, and I think we're going to have to do something a little different. I don't want to go with Oregon every week, right? Because Oregon obviously has a different uniform every week. And if you're watching the stream, you see their uniforms for this week. Pink out, the breast cancer week. My mom's a 2-time breast cancer survivor, so I had to highlight this one. But I got to say, Oregon does something new every week, kind of getting played out. I do love the neon pink on black, and just the helmet again is fantastic.
The only
Pink
thing
bottoms
that
on the cleats too. I love that.
the only thing that throws me off about this is that the names are still they're neon yellow. Um, Honestly, this would be a lot better if they kept the pink all the way through. Personally, keep the theme going. These uniforms are gorgeous though.
Right, and I think too much pink is a concern that they were running into as well. So I'm not gonna
That's
trash it too much.
as long as the base of the uniform isn't pink, it's probably okay.
You're not entire. You're not wrong there. I accept that. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna have to do something a little different. I noticed we had a lot of the same teams this week. So we'll definitely keep an eye on, and don't worry, we're probably not going to talk about Oregon every single week, even though they do pretty consistently put up clean uniforms. I'm sure they'll go back to a neon green here soon that we're just going to unanimously hate, and we won't even talk about it. That being
Correct.
said, it's time to talk
Holy,
about some
holy ranked picks this
ranked.
week, Batman.
Oh my God, we have 6 in the FBS, 3 in FCS, and we even have a Division 2 1 versus 2 matchup we're going to talk about. And then we of course have our own picks of the week. So strap in, buckle up, get ready. Our first matchup is a big one. Number 1 Alabama going to Knoxville, Neyland Stadium to face number 6 the University of Tennessee. I
Hey,
of course am picking Alabama. Doug is with me as well. Tug, why are you picking Tennessee?
I don't know what we're gonna get out of Bryce Young. I'm sorry. Like, I trust him to come back, but it was a throwing shoulder injury. It was a sprained shoulder. 2 weeks. I'm stuck on it, man. Um, Tennessee's been lighting it up. Uh, I don't know if they slow down. More importantly, this is at home in Tennessee. Knoxville fans finally believe in their team again. Uh, Again, it's another hostile environment for Bama. Hopefully, they can handle it. Um, I think this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a one possession game. I think it can go either direction. But I am taking Tennessee in this one.
Fair enough, and I would definitely give a slight edge to the home team in a rivalry if I, wouldn't die on the inside
For
for picking Tennessee.
that's right. We would be remiss, Ben, if we didn't remind our fans that this is the third Saturday of October. Um,
It's the third Saturday of a month, so obviously Tennessee has a rivalry game. Next up, we're going to the Pac-12 for some ranked action. Number 7 USC going to number 20 Utah. Man, the Utes have been up and down this season. USC, they're clicking on all cylinders. It's astonishing what this team's been able to do. They're shocking a lot of people. They might sneak their way into a playoff conversation. I'm going to stick with the Trojans. Doug, who is not here, is going with Utah again. I don't blame him for picking the home team here. After that week 1 loss to Florida, Utah has definitely rebounded. They still have some
until
questions,
last
though, in
week.
my opinion. Exactly.
So here's my thing. Utah has had their struggles with ranked opponents this year. That's one. Number two is USC looks like Oklahoma from last year.
Oh, I
Um,
wonder why.
and Oklahoma looks like USC from last year. Um, yeah, I'm sticking with SC on this one. Even if it's on the road in Utah, hostile environment, don't care. I'm going to trust Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams here on this one.
And our third FBS ranked matchup, not our last, but our third. We're about halfway through here. We got number 8 Oklahoma State going to TCU, number 13.
This is definitely going to be a throw it up kind of game. I honestly don't feel comfortable picking either of these teams. I
I don't
really
either.
don't. I'm sticking with OSU. That's where I'm riding on this one. But I can see the arguments for TCU too, which make me scared.
Yeah, I mean TCU has been hot, and both of these teams, never really able to put a full season together. Oklahoma State more historically always has that one letdown game. TCU at home, man. I mean, I'm leaning that way. I'm going to stick with it. Doug is going with the Horned Frogs as well. I will not be upset or surprised if Oklahoma State wins this one. It just means that when they play OU, there's going to be a lot more puckering going into that game for Cowboys fans.
Yep.
Moving on, our fourth ranked matchup going to the Big Ten. We got Penn State.
Did anybody check on Doug?
Yeah. Yeah. If we have any listeners in Mexico and you find a large, hairy man,
Oh my God.
that is our friend Doug. And you might
Ask
want
him
to
if
check
he's
on him.
okay.
Yeah, you might want to see if he's okay because he is picking number 5 Michigan, who is hosting this game at the Big House against Penn State. He's picking them to win. I am stunned, astonished, amazed. I mean, this is
a big step in his recovery, okay?
I cannot believe that he has gone with the Wolverines over the Nittany Lions. He has a deep hate for Penn State as well.
I was going to say, no, now that I recognize the team, it makes a ton of sense.
I don't know, man. I'm still
No.
shocked.
See, here's the deal. Doug recognizes that Michigan is a solid institution. He will never say it, but he recognizes that they bring some value. He thinks Penn State should not be allowed any sports program, and he has an actual argument for it. We'll leave it at that. I'm picking Michigan in this game. They're a better team. I'm sorry. They just are all around. They are a better team. They've been playing better. This is Penn State's first true test of the season. I'm sorry. Auburn was not a test. I'm taking Michigan here.
And Penn State's going to have to go to the Big House to do it. I think that's the bigger story here. But
absolutely,
I'm gonna ride with the Nittany Lions. We'll see what happens. James Franklin, this is where you're going to earn your paycheck, right? Moving right along, we got number 15, North Carolina State, NC State going to number 18, Syracuse, playing in the Dome up there. I've got NC State. They're a very physical team. I honestly have not seen Syracuse play this year yet. They seem to always be a team that's meddling, and either they have a few more losses and can't get ranked. It would appear this year they have a few more wins than expected, so they're number 18. It's a tough place to play up there. No doubt about it. But I think the physicality of the Wolfpack is going to be tough for them to handle, and they're going to pull this one out.
Yeah, but Syracuse pulls out these random games that they have no business winning every year anyway.
Yep.
Especially when they're at home in the former Carrier Dome. I'm taking Cuse in this one. I'm taking them at home.
And for the record, Doug is riding with the Wolfpack as well. So, we'll see how this goes. Last but not least, our final ranked matchup of the FBS. We have Mississippi State going to Lexington to take on the University of Kentucky Wildcats. There we go. Brain dead second here. We all went with Mississippi State, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory as to why they are a much better team. They are actually a football school, despite what Wildcats fans want to tell you.
That's not why I'm taking Mississippi State.
Why are you taking Mississippi State?
Because Will Levitt is out. Kentucky starting quarterback is out. I'm taking Mississippi State. Kentucky's going to fall off hard here at the end of the year.
And Will Rogers is still playing out of his mind. So, yeah, yep. Absolutely. Great pick. I agree. Concur. 100%. Let's move on to our FCS ranked matchups here. We got a big one. Number 2, South Dakota State going to the Fargo Dome to take on the North Dakota State Bison. This is the Dakota marker matchup, 1 versus 2 matchup halfway through the season. I love everything about this. Doug and I, though, we're going with the Bison. And really, we talked about home field advantage a little bit already. There's nothing like it when it comes to North Dakota State.
And here's my deal, though. Part of the reason is that stadium is going to be closer to 50-50, I think. It's not going to be 50-50, but it's not going to be the 90-10. South Dakota State is close enough that you're going to get something probably around the range of 60-40. Um, honestly, which it's going to even out the crowd. I also like rivalry games. I went with my homer pick because I'm in South Dakota right now. But also South Dakota State seems to pull these games out for no reason unless it's in the playoffs. So I'm gonna ride with South Dakota State.
Absolutely. You always have to factor in the unknown that is the rivalry game. Moving on, we have Elon, the Muskrats. That's not really their team name. Once again, in a ranked matchup because they won their last one to Doug's chagrin, but he's riding with them against Rhode Island, as am I. I'm going with Elon. Tug, Rhode Island is tied for 25th in the
They're ranked. They're ranked. Counts.
yeah, in the stats perform top 25. So I mean, this is barely a ranked matchup, but you're going with the Rams? Sure.
Yeah, I gotta. So again, I'm from Rhode Island. I gotta stick with the Rhodey Rams on this one. Man, I have no good reason for it. They have the Rams old school helmets, kind of, but they have the base teal and then the white horns going through it. So if anything, because their uniform looks kind of cool, we'll ride with the Rams.
Another team that has that blue and baby blue color scheme. We're looking at number 17 Villanova heading out to Richmond, number 21 to take on the Spiders. For no reason at all, I'm going with Villanova. Doug is going with Richmond. Tug, you want to tell us who you're taking for our audio listeners?
Yeah, I'm taking Nova.
Pretty cut and dry. Not much else to add for either of those teams in this matchup. So we'll move on to D2, and I'm going to be honest with you. I really wish Doug had given us some notes about this game. I'm sure he's looked into it more than either one of us could. We have number 2, Garden Valley State, the Lakers, heading out to number 1, Ferris State. This is another big 1 versus 2 matchup, only in week 6 of the season. I'm going to give the edge to the hometown Ferris State Bulldogs. Doug is going with Garden Valley State. And Doug, who are you going with?
I'm going with the Lakers as well. I'm here for the underdog, even though it's a 1-2 matchup. I'm here for the underdogs.
Correction, it's not Garden Valley, it is Grand Valley State. Grand Valley State Lakers. My mistake on that. I'm thinking of something else talking about Garden Valley. So my bad, Lakers. But I'm still not riding with you. So we'll see how this plays out for me. Finally, we're into some games that we're picking. How exciting is that? I have to bring in the old faithful Arkansas Razorbacks back into this one. They are taking on BYU, another team that we talked about earlier with the beautiful helmets this week. I like this matchup. BYU coming off a disappointing loss to Notre Dame out in Las Vegas. Arkansas, they're on a skid right now. They've got to right the ship here. I think BYU might be the team for them to do it against. This is going to be a tough one, especially on the road, and you can never underestimate BYU. And props to them, by the way, for not only scheduling Arkansas, but getting them to agree to home and home and, making them stick to it. This is going to be a fun matchup to watch, but I've got the Razorbacks pulling this one out.
I get it. I want to pick the Razorbacks. I really do. I really want to yell "Woo Pig" with you. In fact, if Arkansas pulls it out, I will next week yell "Woo Pig" with you. That being said, KJ Jefferson is still battling an injury. He hasn't looked great. That Arkansas defense has looked stunned ever since that Alabama running back put up like 200 yards in the fourth quarter alone. I can't, man. I want to. I can't right now. I'm taking BYU.
For the record, Doug is also taking BYU, and this leads us straight into his game. Kent State going to Toledo to take on, I can't think of their name because my brain's broken from building all this shit 10 minutes before we started. Toledo, though, man, I've got to go with Toledo. Doug's going with Toledo. Tug.
We are priming ourselves for the memeing. We are all riding with Toledo. We're all riding the Rockets.
And I went and looked to make sure this wasn't some type of rivalry matchup to be, have some type of justification for Kent State. It's not. I can't do it. I'm riding with Toledo. And last but not least, Tug, can you explain why you picked this one?
We get into that, I got to ask you, did you look at the BDT rankings for why this would be a good matchup?
No.
All right, then. No, so I'm taking Nebraska at Purdue. This already has implications in the Big Ten West for the leader. which is really weird to say. I know Illinois and Minnesota do too. But somehow Nebraska still only has one loss in the Big Ten. Purdue also only has one loss in the Big Ten. This is going to be a good game. I'm taking the Boilermakers at home because that seems to be everyone's trap. They play really well at home. I see no reason not to take Purdue here. And Nebraska is still trying to find their legs. It seems like they have, but I don't know. It's just not it right now.
It's just going to be such a disgusting game to watch, regardless of the fact that these are two teams by our metrics that are very close in talent. I don't want to watch this. It's going to be gross. But that being said, I've got to take the home team,
Hold
the
on.
Boilermakers. I don't
What's
trust
gross about it?
Nebraska at all.
Dude, this is
What
going to be great Big Ten hand in the dirt football. And then Purdue's going to do nothing but throw the ball the entire game. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
I disagree, but Doug's taking the Cornhuskers, and I mean, why not? Why not? These are two very, very weird teams right now, and sure, this. I don't know. I don't know that I want to watch this one. Well, that's going to take us to the prospects to watch. Doug sent these in for us, so I did as much research as I could. We got Elijah Cooks, who started his college career in 2017. He's a wide receiver for San Jose State right now. I imagine as a grad transfer. He started out at Nevada. And as you can see, if you're viewing along with us, in 2020, he had very few he only had 2 receptions for 24 yards, potentially some COVID stuff. Maybe he got hurt, didn't finish the year
I
out. I didn't go that far into it. Did you get a
I
chance?
No, I didn't, but I can tell you based on this is his that's 60. This is his 6th season. I have no idea. This theoretically would have been his COVID plus, but that would have been last year. So
I imagine
wow.
he probably got hurt and redshirted anyway. So that's how he got a 6th year out of this. And he could be a grad transfer because, like I said, this is his first year at San Jose State, and he's kind of picking up where he left off in 2019, which was his best year. 76 receptions for 926 yards, 8 total touchdowns. He's got 23 receptions and 408 yards already at San Jose State, 2 touchdowns to boot as well. So keep your eye out for him. The Trojans, is that right? Or are they the Spartans?
Spartans.
San Jose Spartans. They are taking on in Mountain West action this week Fresno State at Fresno State. So this should be an interesting matchup to see how this shakes out for them. Keep an eye out for number 4 on San Jose State, Elijah Cooks. And that'll take us to our defensive player to watch, Dorian Williams, out at Tulane, number 2. I'm not sure if he had a number change. There were a shit ton of numbers when I was looking for pictures of this guy. But they are taking on South Florida. He has been an absolute tackling machine the past 2 seasons with 97 tackles in a shortened season of 2020, 4.5 sacks. He got his first turnover this season. So that is actually incorrect on our slide. He didn't have any turnovers in 2019. His first turnover this season. It was an interception earlier this year. Already through this 2022 campaign, 42 tackles and 1 sack, which is amazing that he got 4.5 in one season because I only have 1. We miss you, Doug.
God
And
damn
taking on USF, this is a struggling team in the American Athletic Conference, not Tulane, USF. He's going to eat. He's going to get even more tackles this season. Looking forward to this dude doing some big things and potentially making a splash in the NFL next season. But I think that is all we have for college news and games as well this week. As we already talked about, there's no Mount Rushmore this week. We weren't able to get to it. Tug, on that front, do you have an update on our Discord?
We are getting to a place, guys. It is looking really good. The bot's still not in there. It is looking really good. I need to have a conversation after to officially figure out a drop date, but I'm thinking we can get that going here soon.
Sounds good to me. Can't ever complain about that. We still are not even to halftime of this Thursday night football game, and wouldn't you know it, there still hasn't been a touchdown scored.
There hasn't been a point scored.
It is the Bears got stopped on the goal line. We will probably see points here. Not a touchdown, but Washington's going to kick a field goal, and we'll see if they get it here.
I will
I'm
say that
willing
was
to say
beautiful
honestly,
coverage by the Bears to deny that touchdown.
well, this drive's been extended by 2 pass interference calls. The first one, I'll give them that one. I didn't see anything on the second one unless they called defensive holding. Obviously, I'm not listening to the audio here. But yeah, that's why Jalen Johnson's a top cornerback in the league and should start getting paid like one sooner than later. Tug, do you already see the kick? Give
Yeah,
me
it's
an
good.
update here. Kick is good, so we're not going to go into a 0-0 tie at halftime. The
No,
Bears
we're going to go into a 3-0 lead at halftime.
3-0 lead. Well, could change. There's still 46 seconds left on the
Oh,
clock, so we'll see what
God.
happens here. But yeah, still no touchdown. It's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. Yeah, I think this is record time as far as us getting started and finished as far as the game goes. Tug, take it away. What are our links here?
Yeah, all right, guys. So as always, we have our patreon.com/BDT football, twitter.com/BDT football, facebook.com/BDT football, instagram.com/BDT_football, BDTfootball.com, mailbox at BDTfootball.com. We have our YouTube. We have twitch.tv/BDT, Big Dudes in the Trenches. I'm sorry, twitch.tv/Big Dudes in the Trenches.
One word.
Please go like, follow. We're getting real close, guys. All of these will be linked in the description below. And soon enough, I'm not going to promise a date yet, but soon enough, you guys will have the Discord available to you. I'm going to keep dangling that fruit in front of you. We'll see where we go.
Yeah, Tug, what did Yoda say when he saw himself in 4K?
I feel like I should know this, and I'm blanking hard.
HD, am I?
God damn it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we have on the show today. Thank you for watching or for listening. And just remember, you can't win a game if you can't win in the trenches.